Hello and welcome. It is Nomadic Shaman here. Thank you for visiting my page. Today's video, y'all, I really didn't think I was going to be making another video about this, but here I am. Spirit told me last night actually, I got a message from Spirit and it was expose them. So here we are. Okay, just to make it clear, I'm sharing my personal experiences as it relates to gang stalking. Okay, my intent is to educate, to inform, to empower, to bring awareness, and to expose y'all. Okay, so with that, let's get it. The first one, doxing. For those who are not familiar with doxing, doxing is leaking out personal information that can look like emails, phone numbers, but for this example, personal addresses. Yes, I have had, there was one instance where I literally had four different people come to my address knocking on my door. Okay. Outside of that, I've had people come in and try to sell me products. I've had people come in and try to sell me services. I've had people come in and pretend the intent wasn't to knock on my door. They're trying to find a person that they're trying to reach. Okay. And at first I thought, okay, maybe some of this can be coincidental. Mistakes do happen. But not when Spirit's right next to me and saying, nope. Okay, so then the next one is rental cars. Rental cars, they like to use rental cars when it comes to tracking and following you, okay? Also, they like to use disabled veteran license plates and duplicate license tags plates, okay? And I didn't mention that in my previous video, so I'm adding it in this video. Reason being, okay, I, for one, like to take pictures, okay? So I'm thinking, got him. And they're like, nah, you don't. Okay, using some poor innocent bystanders license plate information, okay, and making duplicate tags to add on to whatever vehicles. They do that. Okay, moving on. The employment through infiltration. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you already have services or if you're looking to gain new services, part of the Gangstalking campaign, they want to be employed by the same company that provides those services, y'all. That's right. Okay. So, and in addition to that, and that's because to gain direct access or at least be within close proximity, right? The next part of that is, let's say if you work for an employer. You have an employer. If there's an opening in your job, more specifically HR department or payroll department, or let's say IT department, why is because the type of access that you have within those departments to any type of personal information as it relates to you. Okay. Don't let there be an opening in your department because they're applying for it and they're going to get it. Okay. Outside of that, let's say you are self-employed, because I am self-employed as well. How that will show up is prospective clients, okay, wanting to be able to utilize your services, or prospective partnerships, okay? Am I saying this is the case for all? No. However, what I am saying is you need to be mindful and discerning, okay? Because I done got a couple times. Not too bad, because I caught it before anything big happened, but I done got, okay? The next one would be Amazon packages and USPS. So case in point, when you have USPS and it's showing that the package has been delivered, and I'm looking out and I'm like, where'd that go? Where is it at? Because it's gone. It is gone. Okay. And not only has this happened once, twice, maybe up to 3 times has it happened. One instance was it's showing delivered and it wasn't delivered until 3 days after. And when it was delivered, the tape was off. the content within the package was ripped. Okay. Which now we're transitioning to Amazon, right? So with Amazon, same thing. You know what I'm saying? The picture showing that it was delivered, but I don't see it. Instead of where's Waldo, it's where's Amazon, because I don't see it. Okay. And on top of that, there has been instances where the Amazon tape was literally ripped off. Okay. Not only was it ripped off, you can tell the shipping label was ripped off the package. When you go inside the package, the covering was either ripped or open. Then the seal in itself was ripped or open. Okay. So then I'm like, and I'm closing back the box and I'm seeing that notice did. Okay. Like literally open up the package and then try to affix the old worn tape and slap back on the shipping label because it may have gotten in the way of the tape. You see what I'm saying? That has happened. There was one instance where I stood by the window. Y'all, I sure did. Waiting for my Amazon package. Phone in my hand. Refreshing my screen. And you know what I saw? I literally caught the dude with the box cutter in his hand, opening up my package. Yes. Okay. Moving on, there was an instance where, let's say if you have food services, either grocery shopping or products, what they like to do with that is either your products will go missing or you have perishable items, they will be spoiled or expired. Or if, let's say when you order, there's a product that's available, but when it comes to you, they're out of inventory. But then when you look back online, it's in stock. So then you want to call because you want to make sure that you're not going crazy. So you call them and you confirm, oh no, we have it in stock. We have plenty in stock. Okay. And not only does this happen once, twice, quite a few times. Okay. So it's no longer a mistake. This is intentional. Okay. So product was available. Problem was it just wasn't available for you. Okay. So in this experience, I realized that they are also part of the Gangstalking campaign where they have employees, okay, packing up the stuff, packing up your food, packing up your groceries. Okay. So that's another one. The next one would be, of course, stealing your mail. Okay. There were times where I went ahead, I believe I ordered a Lexus report, and that's kind of fancy. That's different because you have to, they send you this email, then they have to send you a special digital key to access it and to make sure, and it has to correspond with the number that you get in the mail. And when I opened up the mailbox, it was like, peekaboo, I don't see you, because it wasn't there. I wasn't getting any of my mail. None of my mail. Okay. So they like to steal mail. The next one is energy weapons. I spoke about this briefly in a video, but I skimmed it. So with the energy weapons, there are different weapons or direct energy weapons. There are different direct energy weapons that are used. Spirit happened to show me the ones that they were using on me. In fact, I had an incident, I know it was last week, where they had a direct energy weapon pointed directly at me for 8 hours straight. It was actually in a worker's truck, okay, right outside my apartment, behind my apartment, okay, aiming straight at me. Now, for those who want to know whether or not, how do I know if I'm being affected by direct energy weapons? Some of the symptoms: you feel dizzy, you have headaches, forgetfulness. Sometimes you may feel nausea. You may have like burnt marks, also weakened bone density. Okay, just to name a few. So they do like to use direct energy weapons. And then also for a spiritual thing too, they point it at your pineal gland to affect your third eye. Okay, so your third eye, we all know, affects like your dream state, your memory recall, your ability to meditate, okay, and be able to see through your third eye, as well as your crown chakra. That also affects your memory as well. So there's a spiritual component to that, okay? The next part is shadow banning. Okay. For those who do not know, my platform is on YouTube, I'm on IG, and I'm also on TikTok. On YouTube, they like to affect my subscriber count, as well as my views. They're always jumping all around the place. Might as well be playing hopscotch. Okay. As far as, what is it, TikTok? TikTok, they banned your girl after my videos on Gangstalking. Yeah, they banned her. I went ahead and I appealed. They went ahead and reviewed it, and here I am. But Spirit had informed me it was due to the amount of false reports, okay, that were being done based on my Gangstalking videos, okay? Also with TikTok, there were instances where literally uploading a 2 or 3 minute video started on Monday. That bad boy wasn't uploaded until Thursday. Okay, they slowed down. I don't know what they did because my internet wasn't affected, but they did something where they slowed it down where the videos wasn't being uploaded. Okay, so maybe my internet was affected, but I was still able to do work. But still, okay. So that also with having posts under content review for all your posts. That's a new thing for me. Okay, but here we are. As far as IG, what they would do is they'll allow you to post, but they won't allow you to write a description under the video or add hashtags. And why is that important? Is because how do you build traction? How will people be able to find, especially when you're building, how will people be able to find your videos without hashtags or descriptive content underneath the video? Okay, so they do that on top of extreme slow times and being able to upload your video. Okay, the next one, and that also goes for different devices too. Okay, the next one, sending harsh chemicals through the HVAC vents. Yes. Okay. I've also talked about mirroring phones. The next is shooting guns in the air. So by way of noise intimidation. Okay. Also adding you to the terror watch list that the government oversees and operates. And why is that so important? Why do they do that? Because they provide technology, access, resources, funding, manpower, and it takes off, the heavy lifting work from them. You can spread it around. They have funding allocated to that. And there have been many of people that were wrongly put on that list. Okay. So the terror watch list. Also, people, while you're out in public, people will just pull out your phones and record you. I'm talking about following you and record you, following you and taking pictures of you. Okay. That eventually gets old. And then cars will honk. Okay. So you're probably like, oh, well, cars honk all the time. Well, I live in an apartment complex. When you're honking a car or you're honking the horn and you're situated in a parking lot, who knows? How does the other person know that you're waiting in the car and you're honking at them? I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Nothing's impossible, right? But I know in my instance, I was walking up to my apartment door and I felt that I had caught them off guard. So they were catching the attention of other eyes to be able to be on me while I was in my apartment or on my way to the apartment. Okay. What's the next one? Next one is stealing ideas and work and profiting off of them. Through hacking my computer, they were able to steal my ideas, my ideas in the full-fledged work because it was already done. okay, and then profiting off of them. Now, Spirit had directed me straight to the people, straight to the product, and straight to the platform of where the products were being sold. Okay, so what does that mean? That means a lawsuit is coming. That's what that means. Okay, moving on. So then the next one is noise intimidation. Noise intimidation by way of neighbors. Now, I live within close proximity of my neighbors. Not only are they nosy, but they're noisy. And when I say noisy, there was this one YouTuber, I actually was watching his video. He's a tarot reader. He's funny. He cracks me up. His name is Spiritual Savage. I don't normally do shout outs, but I'm going to do one for the sake of this video. So in one of his videos, I'm listening to him, and he points out one of the, tactics that gang stalkers use. And I'm like, hold up. He talking about my situation. What he had explained was, in your apartment, where literally there'll be people, when you go in one room, they'll follow you in another room. Like you can literally hear them do that. And that's basically what was happening. And even though I picked up on it, I wasn't connecting the dots. But then Spirit had directed me to that video. And when I watched it, I said, well, damn. I said, I didn't know we were playing follow the leader up in this bitch. When I went in my room, they went in their room. When I went to the bathroom, they went in the bathroom. When I turned on the water, they turned on the water. When I turned on the shower, they turned on the shower. When I went over to the kitchen, they went to the kitchen. When I turned on the faucet, they turned on the faucet. I'm in my living room, they in their living room. Okay, they're pushing chairs across the hardwood floor so I can hear it. They're pushing tables across the hardwood floor so I can hear that. They're turning their music up high decibel so I can hear it. Noise intimidation. So thank you, Spiritual Savage, for helping me to connect the dots. They told me you watch my videos on TikTok, or maybe it's on YouTube, or both. Okay, so thank you for that. The next thing is that I wanted to add is musical. We were playing musical chairs up in this bitch, and I had no idea. But moving on. Next thing is they like to rearrange things in your apartment. I already told you how they gain access to your apartment. So what that looks like is they'll either put things in, remove small things so you don't notice it, change some things around. And you're probably like, what's the point to mess with you? There was this one woman, how she put it, and I'm going to use it. I don't remember your name off the bat, but I will give you credit. And she said, gangstalking is like death by paper cuts. Okay. So that puts things into perspective. When I would notice things in my drawer, I'm like, I know I wouldn't buy this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I had to remove it. Spirit had informed me that there were cursed items in my home that were planted there, and they were used as portals to gain access to me. The cursed items were used as portals. That's how they were able to astral project into my home. Okay, so it was like we were playing hide and seek up in this bitch. Well, I was. Spirit was telling me where to go, and I had to go and find it. Okay, and get rid of it. The next one. Uber drivers. So let's say you use Uber drivers whether or not you're traveling to or from the airport or you're in a different city. They like to have you use their Uber drivers. So because they already know your schedule, they know where you're going, when you're going, they have all that information, they'll make it so that all of their Uber drivers, part of the Gangstalking campaign, is like clumped all together within close proximity of you. So guess what? When you finally get one that rings, or somebody picks up your ring, you're riding up in their car. Okay? So that's how that works. Another one would be, let me make sure, because I want to make sure that I have everything. So you guys, just give me a second. I think, yeah. Uh, that's another one. That's another one. Um, that's another one. Before I forget, two things before I forget. One is you'll notice whether or not you live in a house or an apartment, there'll be several all of a sudden available apartments. And then next thing you know, you'll see people who get those, who've moved into that apartment, but you've only seen them move in once, but you see different people. They're swapping families. They're swapping families, okay? And those are covens and or people with specialized skills to be able to better gang stalk you, better keep eyes on you, okay? Depending on why they're there, okay? But what you'll find is I ain't see you moving it out. Why? It's because that furniture is still there, but they're swapping families up in there, up in that piece. Okay, I've lost count how many different families, different faces that I have seen within this apartment building, but yet only saw one move in one time. But want to know one of the most peculiar things that I found was one of them had one of them did a mistake. They said talk about the trash. I thought I did, but one of them made a mistake in that the door was wide open and they were slow to close it. I peeked in, and when I peeked in, I'll have you know, they had the same exact living room layout as me, same exact dining room layout. Okay, my colors are pink and green. That's not common. Okay, same exact furniture. Okay, so they like to do that too. The other part is going back to the trash, as far as like how they like to steal trash, and the reasons why, for spell work, is I lost count how many times I would go ahead and take the trash out to the dumpster, and literally I'm being followed or ran down, so that people know where I put my trash, so they know where to go to take it, y'all. Okay. So that's another one. The last thing that I wanted to add before I get up out of here is, my strong suit area is I am a medium and I am an open channel. So I do communicate with energetic beings who do not hold a human vessel. I'm also a healer. Okay. But one of my favorite pastimes is I like to go on YouTube or TikTok and see people who have other gifts that are either more advanced than mine or different than mine. Okay, so I can learn from them. All right. So with that said, one of my favorite pastimes is to watch, different tarot readers so I can learn. Okay. But in doing that, one of the things that Spirit had divulged to me is within the spiritual community, it is not only tarot readers, but it's also folks within the spiritual community who practice divination, who get paid to be part of gang stalking campaigns. Okay. Whether or not they're working with the FBI, okay, or whether or not they're working with the gang stalking campaigns. And what they're paid to do is they will be fed certain information of the profiled individual or the target, and then they'll incorporate that within their readings. So here you are thinking that, oh, this is coming up organically. This is coming up intuitively. I mean, these people know names, very specific names. These people also know specific locations. These people know trips, okay? And, even though they're speaking for a collective, I mean, they be on point every single time. They be on point, okay? And many are gifted in that way. But Spirit told me it's not what it seems. Okay? There are spiritualists who are Decepticons. Okay? In other words, They present themselves that the information that they are giving is based off of intuition and off of their spiritual gifts. And although, but yet some of these spiritualists, either are most of the majority of their information, if not all, is being fed to them or is being interwoven with their gifts. Okay. So it can come off as more believable. And the crazy thing is, they shared with me some folks who have really, really high numbers and a large following. And they're like, yeah, it's not what you think. That's one of them too. You know, that's part of the ops. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, word? So yeah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. Okay. So I say all that to say, if you are like me, who also watches folks within the spiritual community who are dealing, I wouldn't necessarily exactly pinpoint healers. I'm speaking specifically about those who give or provide messages and or who practice divination, that not all of them are providing you information organically based off of their authentic gifts. Rather, the information is being fed to them, and their job is to present it as though this is authentic for a few dollars, okay? Or for a stipend, okay? Regardless, they're getting paid to be on the ops, the opposition. So please be mindful with who you watch and the information that you take in. That should be the case across the board, but they got your girl good. You know what I'm saying? They got your girl. They got your girl good with that. All right. So I believe that wraps up my video. Feel free to comment, like, share, and follow. And until the next one, I'm out.